Now, to get us the latest, Jonah Blank is joining us from Washington, D.C. He's a former foreign policy advisor to President Joe Biden, who advised Biden for 9 years on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Mr. Blank, good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
We were just getting the visuals of the President-elect Donald Trump just going towards the White House, of course, as a tradition to meet the incumbent and also the other pleasantries. Your first thoughts to that?
Well, this is a return to the normal life of Washington in the sense that a president is supposed to have a peaceful transfer of power and is supposed to convey the absolute most sensitive information directly one-to-one for his successor. Barack Obama did this for Donald Trump. And in fact, one of the things he told him in that meeting was that Michael Flynn, the man who would become Donald Trump's first national security advisor, was essentially a Russian asset. This was very dangerous information, and in fact, Michael Flynn was the very first person Trump had to fire. He'll likely be back in a second administration. We don't know what President Biden is saying to Donald Trump, but I can pretty much guarantee it will be very important information. This is not just a hi, how are you meeting.
Right. Mr. Blank, let's talk about Trump's team now. Department of Government Efficiency. This is going to be headed by, in Donald Trump's own words, the great Elon Musk and the American patriot. What are we looking at?
Well, the optimistic scenario here is merely massive corruption. Elon Musk currently has at least $10 billion in federal contracts just through SpaceX alone. He has a lot of other contracts in addition to this. He has at least 20 lawsuits or investigations. He has business in front of at least 7 U.S. agencies. So for the next 2 years, if he's going to be sitting in judgment on which U.S. agencies are going to have their budgets massively chopped, we can assume he's going to be having enormous potential to simply have his own business interests trump everyone else's. That's the optimistic scenario. The pessimistic scenario is that he'll make good on his threat to recommend $2 trillion in cuts. This is out of a total U.S. budget of something like $7 trillion. If that occurs, and he doesn't have the power to implement this, only Congress has the power, but if that becomes the Trump administration's policy to have this sort of massive cuts, that will be just devastating for Americans right across the board.
Mr. Blank, you're painting a very worrying pictures for the American taxpayers, because Donald Trump is posing this specific department, which is not a federal department actually, which you rightly pointed out. We don't know where the money is coming from, but Donald Trump is promising that the department will slash excessive regulations, cut wasteful expenditure, and restructure federal agencies.
Correct. Now, only Congress has the power to do that, but right now, Donald Trump's Republican Party has an absolute majority in the Senate and is looking like it will have a majority in the House. So Congress may well rubber stamp whatever Trump puts in front of him. I doubt Congress would do it at anything like the level that Elon Musk is threatening, but even a threat of half or a third that high will mean that Americans get deprived of their Social Security benefits, deprived of their Medicare health benefits. Just any part of U.S. government that helps people's lives is on the chopping block.
All right, if you could just quickly zoom out a little, and the kind of appointments we have seen so far, it's just been a week from the election day, but the kind of appointments we have seen, what does that tell you about the Trump's second administration?
That it's much more extreme than the first. I'll point to two in specific. Stephen Miller, who will be the Deputy White House Chief of Staff, is one of the most extreme anti-immigrant forces within the Trump administration. Expect to see him dictating policies not only on immigration, but on a whole range of issues and pushing Mr. Trump in a very extreme direction. The second, maybe even more important, is the Secretary of Defense nominee, Pete Hegseth, who has no experience whatsoever in administration of the largest entity in U.S. government, the Department of Defense. He is a Fox News pundit. His only experience is as a soldier, which it puts him in company of nearly 2 million people in the United States. He is manifestly not merely unqualified for the task, but very dangerous. In his post as a Fox News pundit, he advocated successfully the setting aside of judgments of U.S. military who'd been found guilty of war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq. That's what we can expect.
All right, Mr. Blank, thank you so much for all those insights. Good to speak to you.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.